Hello, my dear students. Welcome you all to Sri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your mentor and your friend for the subject biology, and I will be taking the zoology part, that is animal science. My dear students, today I am going to start with a very interesting topic for the chapter chemical coordination and integration. In the previous lectures, we have completed about the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, and parathyroid gland as well. We discussed about different types of hormones secreted by these respective glands. We discussed about the hypo and hyper secretions of these hormones and their possible effects on the body. We also discussed about the feedback mechanism, and today the turn is for pancreas. So, starting with the first slide, sorry, sorry, starting with the first slide, location and origin. Pancreas. The Greek word is pancreas, that is sweet bread, not sweat bread, sweet bread. It is a flattened, it is a flattened and pinkish mixed gland. It is a mixed gland. Okay. Why it is considered as a mixed gland? Because it functions as both exocrine as well as endocrine. Okay. It serves as both exocrine and endocrine in function. Okay. It is situated in the concavity formed by duodenum. Okay. Just behind the stomach. Just behind the stomach where duodenum starts. So duodenum makes a concavity, and that concavity basically it is having this gland, that is pancreas. It measures about 15 centimeter in length and 4 to 5 centimeter in breadth. It measures about 15 centimeter in length and 4 to 5 centimeter in breadth. It forms by fusion of two bilateral endodermal process of embryonic intestine, duodenum of future adult. So the origin of pancreas is very interesting. The origin basically takes place by the fusion of two bilateral endodermal process of embryonic intestine, mean the intestine which is going to form in the adults. So the part of the intestine that reflects duodenum was intrauterine, mean in the intrauterine stages. It was actually, or it gave rise to this gland, that is pancreas. Okay, understood? Now, structure. About 99% of the gland is exocrine and formed of hollow pancreatic acini or lobules embedded in a connective tissue called stroma. About 99% part of the gland is exocrine, I mean it is exocrine function, and it is formed by a hollow pancreatic acini or lobules which are embedded in a connective tissue known as stroma. In the stroma, there are numerous cells, approximately 1 to 2 million in human pancreas, and they are small, zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 millimeters in diameter. These clusters of endocrine cells called islets of Langerhans, after the name of the discoverer Paul Langerhans in 1869. So you got to know that pancreas, they are basically 99% they are exocrinic in function, and they are mainly made up of hollow pancreatic acini, the exocrine part, or the lobules, which are embedded in connective tissue stroma. The stroma further contains numerous cells which are zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.0 millimeters in diameter, Okay, and these cells, these clusters of endocrine cells are known as what? Isles of Langerhans, after the name of the discoverer Paul Langerhans in 1869. Okay, now coming to next slide. This is the transverse section of pancreas. In the transverse section of pancreas, you can see the peripheral arrangement is of these acini or lobules. Okay, now these acini or lobules, they also do have a lumen, okay, at the middle. So these acini, they are always at the peripheries. The inner part is basically having the larger ducts. These are the larger ducts. Okay, these are the blood vessels. These are the aisles of Langerhans, and this is the connective tissue. Here you can see the blood capillaries, means the connective tissue, the blood vessels, exocrine acini, and endocrine alpha cells. Then beta cells, then delta cells, and these are the F cells which secrete pancreatic polypeptide. Okay, so alpha, beta, and delta, these are the cells which are basically regarded as different aisles of Langerhans. Okay, alpha cells secrete glucagon, beta cells secrete insulin, and the F cells secrete pancreatic polypeptide. Okay, understood? Pancreatic polypeptide. Delta cells secrete somatostatin. Understood? So this is the transfer section of pancreas, although it is not very clear, but it will help you. Cell types in pancreatic isles. Each pancreatic isle includes four types of hormone secreting cells. Alpha cells or A cells constitute about 15% of the pancreatic isle cells and secrete glucagon. So alpha cells basically secrete glucagon, and glucagon is a peptide hormone. Okay. Beta cells or B cells constitute about 80% of the pancreatic isles, okay, and secrete insulin. Delta cells or D cells, it constitute of 5% of the pancreatic isle cells and secrete somatostatin, identical to growth hormone inhibiting hormones secreted by hypothalamus. Okay. So somatostatin is antagonistic to somatostatin is antagonistic to somatokinin, growth hormone. F cells, it constitute the remainder of pancreatic isle cells and secrete pancreatic polypeptide. Okay. To alpha cells, beta cells, delta cells, and F cells. This is the anatomy of pancreas. You can see the pancreas, they are basically located in the C-shaped cavity. You can see this is the C-shaped cavity in which the pancreas are there. Okay, these pancreas, they are having acinar cells. These are the acinar cells. These are the acinar cells secreting digestive enzymes. Okay, and they have pancreatic duct too. Okay, duodenum of small intestine. This is the duodenum of small intestine. Okay, then this is the common bile duct. Okay, understood? The common bile duct. This is the common bile duct. This is the bile duct from gallbladder, means the cystic duct. Okay, so cystic duct merges with the pancreatic duct to form a common bile duct. Okay, pancreatic hormones, insulin, and glucagon. This is spleen. These are pancreatic ions. Hormones of pancreas and their role. The hormones of pancreas are secreted by the cells, which are known as what? Isles of Langerhans, respectively. They secrete insulin and glucagon hormones. Okay, so the alpha cells or A cells secrete glucagon, and beta cells secrete insulin. Both insulin and glucagon they help to maintain, especially they help to regulate the carbohydrate metabolism, protein metabolism, and fat metabolism in the body. Insulin in 1889, Minkowski and Mehring, okay, Minkowski and Mehring discovered the pancreas is related with the disease of diabetes mellitus in humans in 1889. Normal concentration of glucose in the blood is about 100 milligram per deciliter, that is zero point 0.1 gram per 100 ml. It increases somewhat above after the carbohydrate-rich food is taken. Then the secretion of insulin increases. It increases the permeability of cells for the glucose several times, except the brain cells and red blood corpuscles. The brain cells and the RBCs are already have high permeability to glucose. After taking more glucose from the blood, the cells utilize it for energy production. Consequently, the basal metabolic rate in RNA and the protein synthesis increases in these cells. Okay, in the brain cells. In 1923, two Canadian scientists, Benting and Best, succeeded in preparing a pure extract of insulin from the pancreatic isles of newborn calf with the help of MacLeod. Benting and MacLeod won the Nobel Prize in 1923 for his work. In 1923, two Canadian scientists, Benting and Best, succeeded in preparing a pure extract from insulin from the pancreatic isles of Langerhans with the help of MacLeod. Benting and MacLeod won the Nobel Prize in 1923. Later, Abel in 1926 succeeded in preparing a pure crystal of insulin. F. Sanger in 1955 worked out the molecular structure of bovine insulin and won the 1958 Nobel Prize. He discovered that the insulin is a small protein whose molecule consists of two polypeptide chains and joined by disulfide linkages and respectively formed by 21 to 30 amino acid residues. So Abel in 1926 succeeded in preparing pure crystals of insulin. F. Sanger worked out the molecular structure of bovine insulin and won the Nobel Prize in 1958. He discovered that insulin is a small protein whose molecule consists of two polypeptide chains. The chains are joined by disulfide linkage and respectively form 21 and 30 amino acid residues. Insulin is the first protein to be crystallized in pure form. First protein whose molecular structure was worked out. First protein to be synthesized in lab in 1964. So, and also the first protein to be commercially manufactured by the means of DNA recombinant technique. So, insulin was the first protein to be crystallized in pure form. It was the first protein whose molecular structure was worked out. Okay, it was the first protein. Okay, which can be commercially used or manufactured by the means of DNA recombinant technique. Even the human insulin was also synthesized by Sen in 1965. Human insulin. Okay, hypoinsulinism or low levels of insulin in blood. In insulin deficiency, body cells fail to obtain glucose from blood. Okay, glucose level of blood rises, the condition called hyperglycemia. When glucose levels rise further, glucose starts passing out urine, that is glycosuria. This condition is known as what? Glycosuria. When glucose level in blood rises to more than 200 milligrams per 100 ml of blood, the person concerned suffers from the diabetes mellitus, in which the urine becomes very sweet and dilute. Okay, this is hypoinsulinism. Okay, just give me a minute. This is about hypoinsulinism. Now, diabetes mellitus has been used or has been known to Greeks as human diseases since 1500 BC in England. It was known as pissing evil due to copious urination in it. Modern scientists have discovered that the diabetes mellitus of two types, type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. Type 1 diabetes is found in young people, in some of which it is hereditary. About 10% of the diabetes patients suffer from this type. Other patients are so, I mean, they are the sufferers of type 2 diabetes mellitus, which is non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Okay. Other patients suffer from the diabetes type 2, usually found in the people over 40 years of age or obese person. Okay, so nowadays diabetes mellitus is considered to be a lifestyle disorder. Okay, diabetes excrete large volumes of urine. This is called polyuria. Okay, it results in dehydration, which in turn causes increased thirst, that is polydipsia, increased hunger, that is polyphagia. So these three symptoms, polydipsia, polyphagia, and polyuria. Okay, being unable to utilize glucose for energy production, starving the midst of plenty, the cells utilize their proteins for it, causing body wasting. The body therefore becomes very weak. Therefore, nervous system may also could get damaged. Often, cataract occurs. Okay, cataract is the most common complication of diabetes mellitus. Lipolysis means breakdown of fat in adipose tissue increases, elevated blood level of free fatty acids increases, accelerated but incomplete oxidation of fatty acids for energy, especially in liver, results in the formation of ketone bodies. Acetone, acetoacetic acid, beta ketoester, beta hydroxybutyrate causes ketosis. Since the ketone bodies are sweet, acidic, and poisonous, their increased amount in blood causes acidosis. Hence, patients may anytime become unconscious and finally die. This is known as what? Diabetic coma or diabetic ketoacidosis. Regular injections of insulin must be given to chronic patients of diabetes. Balanced diet, exercise, regular intake of insulin tablets may keep diabetes in control. Certain drugs like glyburide will stimulate the insulin secretion also available. So this is hypoinsulinism or low levels of insulin in the body, low levels of insulin in the blood. Okay, insulin is also a peptide hormone and it is antagonistic to glucagon. Okay, so insulin basically decreases the blood sugar level and glucagon insulin decreases the sugar level and glucagon increases the sugar level. Okay, now hyperinsulinism. Oversecretion of insulin enhances glucose intake by the most of the body cells. Okay, it enhances the uptake of glucose. Okay, that is glycolysis enhances and glycogenesis, formation of glycogen in liver and muscles, causing a persistent decrease in blood sugar level, hypoglycemia. Since brain cell and cells of retina, germinal epithelium may depend upon glucose for the energy, nervous system fertility vision sharply decline. Poor supply of glucose to the brain stimulates sympathetic nervous system, causing unnecessary excitement and feeling of anxiety and sweating, weakness, fatigue, and muscular convulsions. So oversecretion of insulin enhances glucose intake by most of the body cells and glycogenesis in liver and muscles causes a persistent decrease in blood level, that is hypoglycemia. Since brain cells and cells of retina and germinal epithelium may depend on glucose for energy, nervous efficiency, fertility, and vision sharply decline. Poor supply of glucose to brain stimulates sympathetic nervous system, causing unnecessary excitement. Excitement is there, but it is not required. Unnecessary excitement. Feeling of anxiety, dar lagna, sweating, pasina aana, weakness, fatigue, and muscular convulsions. Continued excess of insulin in blood causes coma. That is known as what? Ketoacidosis or ketogenic coma or diabetic coma, known as insulin shock and death. Injections of cortisol, adrenaline, these are the life-saving drugs, growth hormone, and glucagon help in the treatment of hyperinsulinism. Because these hormones retard glucose utilization in cells and mobilize glucose and fatty acids respectively from liver to adipose tissue. Injections of glucose also give relief to the patients. So this is the oversecretion of insulin, okay, which causes hyperinsulinism, okay. Hypoglycemia causes hypoglycemia, low levels of blood sugar, okay, and in chronic conditions it may cause diabetic coma or insulin shock. Glucagon. Glucagon, this is secreted by alpha cells of islets of Langerhans. It was discovered by Kimball and Merlin. Like insulin, it is also a small protein. Like insulin, it is also a small protein. Its molecule consists of a single polypeptide chain of 29 amino acid residues. Its function is to elevate glucose level in blood when glucose is deficient. So whenever glucose is less than 100 milligrams per deciliter, which is the required amount of glucose in blood, whenever the blood sugar level goes down beyond this level, the glucagon it stimulates. Glucagon convert glycogen into glucose. So it basically breaks the or it helps in the glycogenolysis. Okay. It is a chain of 29 amino acids residues. Okay. For this, glucagon intensify glycogenolysis, deamination of proteins, and gluconeogenesis, formation of glucose, deamination of proteins, and glycogenolysis, and inhibits glycogenesis in liver cells. It also intensifies lipolysis in adipose tissues, breakdown of fats. Thus, it is a promoter of catabolic metabolism. When during excessive physical labor and stress, glucose consumption in the body increases and blood glucose level falls, glucagon is secreted to normalize the glucose levels. Okay, so glucagon and insulin they are antagonistic to each other. Okay, the secretion of insulin and glucagon is regulated by limit control feedback or push and pull feedback control system. When sugar level in the blood increases, insulin is secreted and secretion of glucagon is inhibited. When due to the effect of insulin, blood sugar level falls, secretion and insulin is inhibited and that of glucagon is stimulated. So secretion of insulin glucagon is regulated by limit control feedback or push and pull feedback. When sugar level in the blood increases, insulin is secreted and secretion of glucagon is inhibited. When due to the effect of insulin, blood sugar level falls, secretion of insulin is inhibited and that of glucagon is stimulated. Somatostatin and pancreatic polypeptide. Modern physiologists they have postulated that DNF cells, PP cells of pancreatic polypeptide cells of pancreas respectively secrete somatostatin and pancreatic polypeptide. Somatostatin resembles the growth hormone inhibitory hormone secreted by hypothalamus. Its molecule is small peptide of 14 amino acid residues, very small. Okay, so modern physiologists have postulated that DNF cells of pancreas respectively secrete somatostatin and pancreatic polypeptide. Somatostatin resembles the growth hormone inhibitory hormone secreted by hypothalamus. Its molecule is small peptide of 14 amino acid residues. Acting as a paracrine hormone, it serves to retard secretory activities of cells. Besides this, it also slows down food digestion. Okay, it slows down food digestion. It slows down the activity of cells. Okay, absorption of digested nutrients gets retarded. Assimilation of nutrient cells gets retarded. Thus, it prolongs utilization of every feed. Pancreatic polypeptide also act as a local paracrine hormone. It retards secretion of pancreatic enzymes and somatostatin. It also inhibits motility of stomach, duodenum, and gallbladder. Okay. So this is the somatostatin and pancreatic polypeptide. Pancreatic polypeptide is secreted by F cells and somatostatin is secreted by delta cells. Okay. So this is all about the somatostatin, pancreatic polypeptide, then glucagon, then pancreas. Okay. We discuss about. I would like also to tell you about some complications of diabetes mellitus. Okay. So for that I need to add one slide over here. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Type 1 diabetes is insulin dependence diabetes mellitus IDDM, and type 2 is non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus NIDDM. Type 1 is basically an autoimmune disorder in which antibodies are formed against beta cells. Here, insulin secretion is normal, no specific secretion. Yeah, normal. Resistance against insulin in target cells. Okay, it basically affects at the below age of 20 years, above 20 years. Okay, there is a condition in which beta cells undergoes neoplasia. Neoplasm means tumor. Insulinoma. Okay, so this is about the different features, the different points you have to tackle. Okay, for this gland pancreas. So one more important fact: brain can extract energy from ketone bodies during the process of starvation. There are some important facts we'll be encountered when we complete the question bank of this chapter. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay at home.